discus lariat.
The huge suplex.
Perhaps one of the greatest wrestlers to don the ring for WWF at the time, one of the best champions ever, Superstar Billy Graham, passed away this past week. He had been ill for a while, guys. Matt Mullen, Chief here, of course. Welcome you to another show of Thoughts Count Anywhere. And thoughts and prayers go out to the Superstar family. Guys, let me ask you this. What's your greatest memory of Superstar? That's grown up or watching him on TV. Of course, we know he's a bodybuilder for many years. Matt, what comes to mind when you think of Superstar Billy Graham?
It was like before my time, but like going back and watching like his old matches with like Bruno and stuff like that. He was like pioneer.
He said Bruno.
He did. He did.
Whoa.
That was the only entertaining thing about Bruno was his opponents.
It's going to rain.
In that little clip there. Good morning, Tom. In that little opening clip, there was a picture of Bruno taking care of Superstar, and not the full surfer, but he had his arm. And I added that one specifically for Chief. So,
I appreciate that.
What's your fondest memory of Superstar?
Seeing Superstar and Dusty.
That was a great rivalry between the two.
Seeing Superstar and Dusty all over the country, Florida. Then they go into Atlanta. I don't know if Superstar wrestled for the Crockett's or not. I'm not sure on that one. But I know, then he went up into the WWF territory and definitely, feuded with Bruno.
Right.
And, of course, won the championship up there.
Yeah, that's correct.
One of I would say the charismatic, he taught some of the younger boys how to do it. And,
didn't they, Gorgeous George, they attribute him to really being the first one that was flamboyant's not the word I'm looking for, but with the robe and coming in and being that different character. Then we have Superstar, who really kind of changed it up after coming off the circuit of posing and stuff. What am I thinking of? Why am I blanking? Well, anyway, he was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the muscle stuff that he was. Yeah, that thing. Okay. I don't know why I'm blanking on it. But good morning, Brandy. Good morning, everybody. But then, of course, as time went on, my moment is I was in the Garden the night Bob Backlund defeated Superstar Billy Graham for his title.
Right.
But then when he made the resurgence and the colorful tights and the gray beard with the black streak down the middle and a whole different Superstar was presented to the world at that time.
Well, you stop and think about it. The tie-dye shirts and everything, right? I'm going to give you one name, and I want you to think about it for a minute. The Minnesota governor, Jesse the Body Ventura.
That's right.
If you look at Jesse's stick or character, Billy Graham was a great, great friend of his, and that's where Jesse got his showmanship, shall I say.
And the look with the tie-dye and all that stuff. He will be missed.
With the earrings.
With the earrings, exactly. He will be missed. And I do want to say thank you, Ronald Bodybuilding. I don't know why I can't think of that this morning. Also, on another note, just yesterday, having nothing to do with wrestling, but the great Jim Brown passed away yesterday, former running back.
89 years old.
89, Jim Brown of the Browns and Syracuse University, one of my wife's good claim to fames for Syracuse.
As I said, one of the toughest, hard-nosed running backs in the business.
He didn't veer off of would-be tacklers very much. He decided to run them over. But in the chat room, or if you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate you all. Drop into the chat your favorite Superstar Billy Graham moment. Let us know what you thought. of him as a performer, what you remember most about him. Give us a call, 702-992-3207. If you're on the apps listening, we thank you very much for taking us on the go. You're more than welcome to call us as well. And of course, if you miss all of this on Facebook or YouTube, of course, remember in about 72 hours, the show will be up and available on Roku. Yeah. Just make sure you download the WWDBTV channel to Roku, and you can get not only our show, but all the multitude of shows that are available on WWDBTV.
There's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them too.
Plethora.
All right, with that, as always,
Good morning, sister.
It is time to start off with
I hear
wrong
story time.
And now here is your storytelling host, Matt Mullen, the Mr. Rogers of the Fremont Street neighborhood. Take it away, Matt. What's happening in the neighborhood?
story. He started it.
Oh, he said it again.
Chief voice activated. Is that what it
That's
is?
2 out of 3. Trying to make my story time right here, right now.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, take it away.
All right, I got a pretty funny one. We get a call from Denny's, and they're like, "Hey, this girl's trying to destroy the store, and like knock the whole podium over." So I get over there, and I'm like, "Where are they at?" So I didn't see anybody in there, but there was a bunch of stuff everywhere. And they're like, "Do it that way." And I was like, "All right." So I go running across the street. And then you hear all this noise in Viva Vegas, and like me and Fremont Security kind of hit it at the same time. And the same person is trying to destroy Viva Vegas, the like gift store. Ended up getting him in handcuffs, and realize it's like a guy dressed like a girl. And they're like, whatever, just call the cops. And this guy says he's trapped in Cardi B's body, and was it Kim Kardashian is his baby mama?
Oh boy.
The Weeknd is his son. And it was just like this whole thing. And shockingly, he ended up in a place with like padded walls.
No, say it ain't so, Joe. Wow.
Ambulance ended up coming, and they're like, "You're going to the psych ward."
We have a room for you. We have a jacket with a very long couple sleeves for you to fit.
You can scratch your back.
He had his own 72-hour watch party.
There you go. All two of them.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
And
let
then
me remind everybody that our guest coming up at the start of the second hour, I don't know how much you can say about a 7-footer, and because he's already in the internet green room, I have to choose my words very carefully because he's been known to come through speakers and choke people out.
He'll choke you out.
I know. There's evidence of that we'll show in the second hour as well.
Is he a jabroni?
No, he's not a jabroni.
Okay. Just checking.
Good friend of mine, a good friend of the shows. We've had him on a few times.
Yeah, we have.
Jeff Bearden currently got a book out there, The Man Behind the Makeup. The man has so many names. I could see the number of his business cards. We have his book here on the podium. We'll talk about it later. It's on Amazon, so I know you can get it there. There's the book cover right there. The Professional Wrestling Life and Times of Jeff Bearden, who wrestled as Giant Warrior, Big Tiger Steel, Colossus the Gladiator, and Butch Masters. So
those are all big names.
And he's a big guy. He's got to have big names to match his big height there. So we'll have Jeff coming up in the second hour. Be good to catch up with him. He's doing some great stuff. Yes,
I'm going to order that.
You're going to order the book?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
I love wrestling books.
So anybody who buys the book during the show, just double the price for Jeff.
Don't you have an advantage when you're wrestling books? They can't wrestle back.
I dropped the elbow on him.
All right. With that, gentlemen, it's time to keep moving on with our first segment. Time for
I Hear Voices.
I'm so glad you didn't say story time. Rumor is WWE is planning a major character change for Bianca Belair and the Street Profits in the near future. Is this coming off of the Puerto Rico show where everybody was booing Bianca, you think?
Could be the start of it, but I guess they want to turn them all heels, which I could see all three of them being actually really good at it.
Well, they're all on the same show, so I kind of think they would have to kind of be the same, wouldn't they?
Kinda, but they always make sure like the married couples are together, even when they do like drafts and stuff.
Right.
So you figure once Bianca was going somewhere, the Street Profits were going automatically.
I don't think it'll happen right away though, with the feud that Bianca's having with Asuka now, getting sprayed in the face the last.
She got it again last night.
Yeah, got it
partially.
She got the green mist last night.
Right.
So I don't see. Eventually, I think it'll happen, but I don't think As you guys say, there ain't gonna be two heels wrestling against each other.
We'll ask Jeff about his feeling on heels facing each other. Jeff is in the green room, so I know he can see us. So Jeff, just with a nod or a thumbs up, did you ever mist people or vice versa? That green mist stuff. You did. Oh, we'll have to hear about that. So he's been misted or was the mister.
Hey, it was Colossus.
He can do anything he wants as Colossus.
It's a Green Hornet.
Yeah.
It's a green.
Okay.
That's right. All right. Rumor is WWE sees Solo Sikoa and Gunther as main event stars for the next 10 years. That's a long way out to predict that. Don't you guys think? I mean, 10 years?
Not saying like 10 years from now. They're saying for the next 10 years.
No, I understand. But in order to have that main event stars, at some point, would they not to eventually hold a heavyweight title, not just the tag or intercontinental title?
If one of them wins the heavyweight title,
right?
Does the intercontinental title then become relevant again?
I think it is relevant just because Gunther's held it so long that
And
it
I
has
don't
like
disagree
prestige
with-
to it.
I don't disagree with you. I agree.
I think for that, it's a matter of if Gunther or when Gunther loses, whoever beats him, if that individual can sustain the heightened focus on the IC belt that Gunther has given it the last, almost 2 years now, year and a half,
Yes.
when he beat Nakamura for it, didn't he?
Correct.
Ricochet.
Oh, Ricochet, that's right. So whoever it's going to be after him, as then they put Gunther at some point into a main title scene, I think that next person has to maintain its relevancy with that belt, just like Gunther has.
So does Solo hold one championship belt on one of the TV shows and Gunther holds the other one on the other show? Is that what's going to happen?
Could be at some point. I think they're eventually going to put him in like the main event status. But the way it's looking, I wouldn't be surprised if Solo is the one to beat Roman Reigns.
I've said that all along.
Yeah, we've been saying that for a long time. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and that's like putting the direct rocket on somebody and being like,
Did you see SmackDown yesterday when the Usos come in and attacked KO and Sammy, and Roman stormed out of the ring and hit Solo, and Solo just turned around, didn't just straight face and just looked at him like, and Roman, the look on Roman's face like, I fucked up. So that could be happening.
They're still with the bloodline has been so relevant for 2 years now. Now, with the continuing in whatever the breakup of the faction is going to be, even if the bloodline does disintegrate fully and everybody's kind of going their own way, there still will always be that underlying story of them facing each other, going against each other as former bloodline members, family, and all that stuff. I have to say, as much as we've bitched about WWE Creative over the years, we're here almost 3 years talking on this show. They've really done a super job with the bloodline. I'm hoping, though, Paul Heyman has had some input on the direction as part of creative for the bloodline, which I think we all agree is sort of happening.
Yeah.
But I think WWE has done a pretty good job with making this story relevant for this long and has so many ways they can go down the line to still keep it relevant to some degree.
I agree.
So kudos to them. We have to give them props for that one, at least.
Let's realize two things. One, there's still one more brother to come up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And two, there's a female cousin that I think sometime is going to come into the bloodline fold.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Once she leaves NXT.
Right.
So I don't think we've seen
the last.
I don't think we've seen the last of the bloodline. Okay. Some of them may go separate ways, but I still think there's going to
still always be the attachment.
Yes.
I mean, I think if when Solo wins a heavyweight title,
Right.
would it be safe to say that he'll replace Roman as the head of the table? And he'll be asked to be acknowledged?
Well, aren't they saying the Romans? I mean, all right. Let me back up. What we
Back up the
read,
truck.
what we read
Story time
sometimes,
with Matt.
what we read sometimes, or we hear, isn't necessarily true.
No.
However, comma.
Right.
I forget what my thought was going to be. Son of a bitch.
All right, so you think about that. Let's go to the
Oh.
okay, he remembered.
Isn't Roman supposed to go away for an extended
break
extended break or something?
until SummerSlam, I would imagine.
I'm just,
Well,
I'm
it wouldn't be
asking.
the first time we've had a champion not be seen doing anything for 90 days, before defending a title.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that guy can stay away. You,
I
you
agree.
don't need to come
But
back.
based on history, that's what's
Yes,
happened.
yes.
So
But in saying that, does does Solo become the head of the household, so to speak?
in a way, if he gets one of those heavyweight belts around his waist and the bloodline as we know it today, in my opinion, I think he becomes the new anointed head of whatever the faction will look like when he becomes champion. And I read also Triple H's love in the faction and is trying to build more factions within WWE as well. He loves that routine. So we may see somehow the new bloodline 2.0 down the line.
You know what I would love to see?
Mm-hmm.
And this is just my thought. I would love to see Solo Sikoa and Karrion Kross in a match.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would
As long as
love.
The Rock is still in that family, Solo and Roman are the head of like the picnic table,
The kids' table.
and The Rock's the head of the real table
The adults,
that needs to be addressed on WWE television at
Right.
some point.
like that commercial.
Get your shit together,
Yeah.
WWE.
Like the
There you go.
commercial.
All right, last rumor before we go to break.
Where we at?
WWE might move SmackDown from Fridays. And if they do, what day of the week should it be run? My first question is, why would they be looking to remove it from SmackDown? What's happening on Friday that they would want to move it? I mean, AEW's got the new show popping up on a Saturday. What other night of the week is there? There really isn't.
Sunday.
I would not. In my opinion, I wouldn't run any stuff on Sundays. But that's just my opinion. People are out and
They
about.
used to Sunday mornings. They used to run that show with Todd Pettengill.
But that was more like a review show. That wasn't
It was
like
still-
a show now.
It was still a wrestling show.
Yes,
sir.
it was. Yes, it
Still
was.
a wrestling show.
But it's not on anymore.
I can see Vince being real petty and like moving it to like Wednesdays or Wednesdays or Saturdays just to mess
Again.
with Collision or Dynamite.
I'm not going to say Vince wouldn't do that, but I would think that, to me, that's stupidity, because you're
You've already
What's-
lost to AEW.
what's the old saying? You spite your nose to,
Save your face or something.
yeah, something like that. Well,
Cut up your nose to spite your face.
that's it.
That's the old guy.
That's what Vince would be doing. In my mind, if he switched it, if he went off a Friday, you keep, you don't want to match up with your predecessors. You don't want to your opponents, so to speak.
Well, they-
AEW.
I don't know. The
NXT
Monday Night Wars were kind of a thing, and it was kind of a big deal.
That was a different era, though.
But NXT
Different era.
already lost to AEW Dynamite on a Wednesday. WWE lost to AEW. That's why NXT's on Tuesday. I would not, in my opinion, to try to go on the same night against Dynamite or even against the new show on Saturday, in my opinion, does not make sense. They already have proof in the pudding they couldn't do it against a company that was just starting. Even though it was NXT. Now, we don't know what Raw or SmackDown could do against Dynamite ratings-wise. Maybe you test it. But NXT and a lot of the NXT people are now wrestling on the main roster, and NXT could not beat in the ratings AEW Dynamite. I don't know that I would go back to the well so quickly.
I gotta say, I've been watching the wrestling shows
I would hope so.
because I can get them early, so it's before my bedtime, like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I can watch them now, so I can go to bed at 8 or 8:30 or whatever. But anyway, I would think, and this is just my opinion, you keep Raw Monday, all right? You put NXT on Tuesday. You got AEW Wednesday. There's nothing. Well, Impact, if you can get Impact, is Thursday. Friday SmackDown and AEW. And then Saturday is going to be the other AEW show.
Collision, that's the name of the show on Saturday.
Collision, okay. So we're going to have, basically, we're going to have wrestling 6 days a week.
In theory, with as much that's out there now,
And there's more.
Oh, of course. I mean, MLW and all the other.
If you want to go on Fight TV to order
New Japan.
Right, sure. There's more than enough wrestling to make 7 days a week, but nobody really talks about all those other fringe organizations, for the sake of a better word. Everybody seems to focus more on AEW and WWE because they're the prominent ones that have the contracts that are on the national scene. So you're right. We do already have wrestling 7 days a week because of YouTube, because of DVRs, because of all of that stuff. But the prominent thing is, where's Vince going to make his mark? We'll have to see what happens. I would like to see it not move, to tell you the truth. Ben Hall suggests, good morning, Ben. Sunday could just be pay-per-view day. I kind of like it on a Saturday night personally, because then you don't have to worry about staying up late Sunday to go into work. Thomas says, our historian, I thought he was supposed to be working. Could Roman being pissed at the twins all be a swerve? And Jimmy and Jay actually helped Roman and Solo win the belts, the tag belts.
No.
And in Thomas's opinion, SmackDown would destroy Dynamite in the ratings. All right, with that, we are running behind in our first break. We're going to step aside because coming up at the bottom of the hour-ish, we'll have Chiefs Rant. We'll keep talking about some WWE. And just a reminder, top of the hour, our guest, Jeff Bearden, the Giant Warrior. He is waiting patiently and hopefully being entertained by us. If not, we're entertaining ourselves, if nonetheless, and everybody out there. Thank you for watching. TCA, Thoughts Count Anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is John Cena. I just wanted to send you a congratulations on your podcast. Thoughts count anywhere. Because indeed they do. Thoughts are important. I mean, what would we do without them? And how can they not count anywhere? Is there a place that thoughts don't count? I can't think of one. Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much, congratulations, and good luck on the podcast. Thoughts count anywhere, because they do.
Infinite Wellness, a woman-owned family clinic in the heart of Las Vegas, specializing in regenerative medicine. Our stem cell and exome therapies have helped patients avoid surgery, repair joint tears, improve CTE symptoms, become pain-free, and continue activities they have grown to love. Whether you need to begin your health journey, stay at your peak, break through a barrier, repair your body, turn back the signs of aging, or boost your beauty, Infinite Wellness can help you achieve your goals and reach your potential.
Ding, 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 ding.
Good morning, all. Welcome back. Wow. I had to say.
I thought that was pretty good.
It was. And you caught me at a time we're coming back. I couldn't respond to it.
Just checking.
Jeez.
Yes.
Welcome back to Thoughts Count Anywhere, 702-992-3207. Our question of the day is, what is your fondest memory of superstar Billy Graham? Of course, he passed away this past week. And that's one question I wanted to ask Jeff when we get him, is if you ever crossed paths with superstar at all at any point, and get his opinion and thoughts on that as well. We'll ask Jeff about that. Thank you for watching, no matter what platform you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, and Roku down the line. We appreciate making us as successful as we are because of you all out there. Okay, just a quick, go. You have something you want to share?
I do. Our good friend, Mr. Scott Hosey, Power Play Sports and Collectibles, Sports Cards, Toys, and Collectibles Show, Sam's Town Hotel and Casino, August 26th and 27th, and November 4th and 5th. So come on out. Come see us. We're going to be doing our podcast out there, I do believe.
We're going to be doing that. Aaron Zara will be out there as well. That is correct.
Some guy named Aaron's going to be doing there. I don't know who the hell it is.
I don't know.
And I don't care either.
Neither do I.
But anyway.
Me either.
Well, it's mom.
Giggity. Anyway.
No, well, she is. She has a sky view.
Anyway, Scott, come out and see us. Support Scott. Support Power Play Sports and Collectibles. Again, August 26th, 27th at Sam's Town.
By the way, congratulations to the Golden Knights. Big win last night, 4 overtimes. Now taking a 1-0 lead against Dallas, which is why I'm sporting the Knights cap today.
We didn't even have that. Never
No, I'm just kind of, I got my own notes here.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the WWE report. That's right. We'll talk about it.
NHL playoffs.
Okay.
I'm kind of written in there.
Well, you look at the back, I'm going to look at the front. All right, let's talk about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins missed Raw last night, and as has been noted this past week, Matt, he's been involved in the new Captain America movie. Is that right?
Yeah, he plays like one of the villains in the movie.
So what kind of crimp in the plans could that make for WWE in terms of him if he were to win the new belt?
I don't know. They also said like he might miss a couple more Raws to finish filming the movie. But if WWE's plan is to have like a full-time world heavyweight champion, that kind of puts a little crimp in their plans. But it's also Seth Rollins, so I don't know what they're going to do. I don't see AJ winning next Saturday, but you never know. Apparently WWE has some kind of big plan to make this belt prestigious from the jump. So I don't know what they're planning on doing.
Well, they're also pushing it as a belt that acknowledges all the different eras of WWE. Like there's a piece of Bruno's belt in the creation at the top and all that sort of stuff. So as a legacy belt, if they want to make it something, outstanding, I think they have the legs to do it just because of the design of the belt. But I'm concerned though is that plans will change because I realize Seth is going to miss the next couple of Raws, but next week is the match. 1 week from today is the match for that belt. How many Raws could he be missing after that based on his requirements for the movie and not defend or present the belt?
Yeah.
That's what my concern is with that. And who would they put it on from Raw, presumably, if he loses the match? Who else is, I don't, off the top of my head, he's facing AJ. Could AJ win it for one night or something? And then somebody from Raw, he comes over to Raw to flaunt it and somebody from Raw comes out and they have a match that next night and keep it on Raw?
Could be something like that. I wouldn't mind Cody winning it, but
well, they haven't figured out what to do with the ladies' belts. Yes, we don't know.
Let me throw it this way.
Has to be somebody that's been here for 6 months, been fully on TV every year.
If Seth's doing this film, which we know he is, according to you, we've seen him. Okay. And they put the belt on Seth Rollins. I would think WWE's got enough money that wherever he needs to be, they can do a private jet and get his ass there before the show. I don't think it's a problem.
Okay.
All right.
That's going to be based on
Depends
the
where
filming
they're
schedule.
filming it,
right?
though.
And the schedule for filming.
Well,
but the possibility exists.
Like if they're filming it in Australia or something.
Well, no, no. If where are they filming it at?
Oh, I have no idea.
I would assume they're filming it in California.
Not necessarily. They film a
Usually
lot
like
of these
Georgia
Canada, or they sometimes go overseas. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, it would make sense. Yeah.
I mean, come on. If they want him at the show, they're going to get him at the show, because if they didn't want him to do the movie, they would have told him at this time, you can't do the movie.
And another thing they could do is that they can do a vignette if the filming is in a relatively reachable area.
A vignette.
Well, have somebody attack him or approach him about the belt on the movie set.
Yeah.
Creating that feud, so when he's done fighting or filming, then he can come back and take care of the feud with that individual. So there's could be behind the scenes stuff to move that along.
But I want to. Did you find out?
It's being filmed in Atlanta.
Okay.
So right on the screen.
Oh,
thanks, Thomas. You should be working, not paying attention.
Okay, so it's being filmed. Well,
hey, it's doable wherever their shows are. Maybe the next couple of Raws, and I don't know where they're coming from after Saudi Arabia, but maybe they're all on the East Coast or close enough to make a 1 hour plane ride.
I looked up a little bit in the Cincinnati and Cleveland.
All reachable from Atlanta within a couple hours on a private jet. So it's doable.
On a private jet, you can go from Atlanta to California in 3 hours.
Right. So it's doable if the show's within area.
I'm just saying.
No, it makes sense.
But let me go to different route.
Okay.
Let me ask this question. What is wrong with putting the belt on AJ Styles?
Nothing at all.
Because you know how he does it.
Bruno Styles. Cheap plug for John's show. The only thing, you're right. There would be nothing wrong with him having the belt, except when they announced the belt, it was supposed to be a Raw specific belt, was it not?
Yeah.
That's the only caveat to AJ, unless he wins it and the entire OC moves over to Raw.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something said though that people could shift?
Well, they could shift people anytime, I'm sure.
So, maybe one faction goes over to Raw and another faction goes over to SmackDown.
So let's say they come over to Raw if AJ were to win it.
Right.
What three wrestlers or what faction that's on Raw right now would you shift over to SmackDown as a swap?
All right.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Just answer me this question.
Sure.
You know the big guys that come out with
The Vikings, Viking Raiders.
Are they on Raw?
Off the top of my head, I don't recall.
If they're
There's
on-
been so much movement.
Because if they're on Raw with what's her name, they could move them over to SmackDown.
Except she's not a wrestler. If you want three wrestlers moving to Raw from SmackDown, I would think SmackDown would want three performing wrestlers over there. But the Viking Raiders is who you're talking about.
Think she is,
Sarah Logan.
I think she is a wrestler, isn't she?
Well, she hasn't been in the ring since her
Well,
return, though.
Yeah, but she is a wrestler.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that could be a
Sure,
possibility.
absolutely.
I'm just thinking off the top of my head. That's pretty damn good. Huh?
That was very good.
Thank you.
Ronald Young just said, Thomas Burnett, go back to work. You've just been fired from the show.
And Ronald does clarify that they are on SmackDown. Oh, then
They're-
Thomas says they're a part of Raw. All right, you guys figure it out.
Hey, anyway, Thomas, I hope your dad's doing well.
Yes, absolutely.
Prayers out to your dad.
Absolutely. All right. With that, we are at the bottom of the hour, which can only mean one thing. It's time to ring the bells and sound the horns. Why?
Me.
Because it's time for the Chiefs rant.
General quarters, all hands man your battle stations. Set material conditions Zebra throughout the ship. Make Zebra report to DC Central.
Because the chief says so. All right, folks, my 3 minutes of fame now, 2:58. I got two quick things for my rant today. It's not really a rant. Number one, school ends Monday.
That is correct, sir.
So
Summer school starts the following week.
So please, Monday, please be careful in the school zones, because I'm sure there's going to be children are going to be very excited getting out of school, especially the little ones. Then we're going to have the jabronis in high school that are going to be peeling out and all that stuff. So we have to watch that. The other thing is, real quick, last night EDC started in town. They're expecting 500,000 people Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night to attend the EDC out at the Speedway. So traffic's going to be jacked up. My heart goes out to my colleague here, Mr. Matt, because you're going to have to deal with him down where you work, brother. So my prayers are with you for the next couple nights.
But you'll have some nice viewing.
My prayers for them skimpy outfits. Please pray for me, everybody.
Yes. And with that, that is the Chiefs rant today.
So EDC, for those who don't know, stands for Electric Daisy Carnival. But my wife and I were invited to join a group of people to go to the Comedy Cellar at the Rio last night. And the host the comics were great there last night. We had a great time. But the host commented about EDC, about the outfits, and he says, it's crazy to have all these women with these skimpy outfits for the erectile dysfunction convention. That's what he said EDC stands for. Man,
Was some of them girls wearing dental floss? I'm
oh
pretty sure that might
my
be the
God.
cure.
I don't know. It disappeared. I couldn't tell. I mean,
Hey, I had a friend text me yesterday wanting me to sell ice out at EDC for 8 hours, $26 an hour.
I don't doubt it. Cash or W-2 employee? Cash?
No,
What are you
it's
doing
nice.
sitting here?
You get paid in nights.
You get paid in ice.
Hey.
Exactly.
Can you believe that?
I know that the people who go out there to work, I mean, it's a good deal if you have 3 days of stamina.
Grueling.
It is grueling because you're on your feet all those hours for sure.
And you asking me why I'm here?
I know.
Duh.
All right. Speaking of titles, last night there was a situation.
Was that short enough?
No, you were fine.
All right,
You can
just
take
checking.
that's cool. But the school thing is correct. Even though school's out,
Please
still keep an eye out for kids. But keep in mind, summer school extended school year for 3 weeks begins the Tuesday after Memorial Day. 5 days a week will end. The last day will be June 16th. So there's still 3 more weeks of where schools will be active. All right. Liv Morgan, due to her undisclosed injury, apparently was bad enough now, even though reports early said it wasn't serious.
Got it.
The ladies had to vacate the tag titles, and now there's a fatal four-way next week where Raquel Gonzalez has an opportunity to pick a mystery partner to stay in the tournament. I have not been able to find anything. Has there been any news on what the injury is? Obviously, it's a lot more severe than expected if they had to take the belts off of them.
I haven't heard anything of what the actual injury is now.
Okay. Unless it's just a way to get them off them and have Ronda and Shayna actually win them in a fatal four-way.
Get better, Liv.
Because then they have Bailey and Io as a team, Chelsea Green and Sonya as a team, and as aforementioned, Baszler and Ronda and Raquel and a mystery partner. With that,
I have
these guys in there. They are on Raw, by the way, the Viking Raiders.
They're battling.
I know they're battling. We're gonna have to have. What did they do?
Go to your rooms.
MTV, sorry, come out swinging. The MTV. What was the puppet? The clay
Celebrity Deathmatch.
There you go.
We
need celebrity deathmatch.
we need to get Matt to come up with a dummy up title, wrestling title for these two guys. And it can be a verbal
How about
from Vegas,
Dumb and Dumber?
from Vegas and Florida.
If only there was like a title made for the
You want to hear the
podcast
most
that
annoying
might.
sound in the world?
Go ahead.
I should put.
So talking about getting titles made, I was like, only if there was like a Thoughts Count Anywhere title somewhere in existence that like someone could fight for that would make them a co-host, and maybe it's somewhere real close, maybe already.
Ronald said that he thinks.
Oh, wait, Jeff. All right, pop Jeff in here real quickly. He's raising his hand. Hang on. We're going to bring Jeff Bearden in because he wants to respond to. Please welcome Jeff Bearden to the show, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
Good. You had a thought of what we were just talking about, obviously.
No, I just think it'd be great for me to finally have a match with you for that belt.
Oh, no. With me?
Yeah.
Why? Why me?
Well, we started something a few years ago.
Ref, I'll be the ref. No problem.
Does that mean I have to get a belt that's titled "Good Guys of Pro Wrestling" for old time's
There
sake?
you go.
Oh
There
my!
you go.
There you go. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the past. Jeff and I, a number of years ago, co-hosted Good Guys of Pro Wrestling on Fox Sports at the time, and we decided, for stupidity on my part, to recreate the Andre the Giant, Bob Uecker scene at WrestleMania 1. And if you notice since that picture, I've lost a few pounds. That's because he's actually squeezed it out of me. I really never did the sleeve surgery.
Squeeze the shit out of you.
He squeezed the shit out of me. He just kept squeezing and squeezing, and
A lot of shit.
A lot of shit. You ain't get it. It's better than probiotics, I'll tell you. So I found that this morning. I thought Jeff would get a kick out of it. But I will say this, most 7 feet individuals, when we see them on screen, are monsters, and Jeff portrayed and did a great job with that. But I will tell you, Jeff is one of the nicest guys now and I say this because you're 2,000 miles away from me and you are not wrestling anymore. But obviously I've good friends with him and his wife, Brittany, and actually his wife, Brittany, helped finish up my book. She was the ghostwriter to help me finish and publish the book.
Smart lady.
Jeff, I'll tell you what, Jeff is a great guy. And you talk about history. You want to talk about a guy that's got knowledge in his head. Outside of the book where he tells his story, this is a guy that I got to get you back on the air to do something on a regular basis. That's the bottom line. Maybe we'll get rid of Roland and Thomas. We'll just have Jeff as our co-host. What do you think about that? Would that be an upgrade? That's just, you could come out of retirement for that?
Sure.
All right, we could do it this way.
Oh shit.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. No, I ain't doing no 3-on-1. Hell no. No, that's where Chief draws the line. No.
Drop the anchor on Chief.
That's
Yeah. That was a good one. I like that. That was good.
Yeah, the thing is that Jeff had so many personalities, as I alluded to in his introduction earlier. I don't know that I'd want to face any one of them. Every one of them, as I've read the book, just as nasty as them all. And we watched the show Dark Side of the Ring, and we saw the stories of guys wrestling in Mexico and guns and fighting, and all that. When you said you're going to get the book, when you get opening chapter alone, I don't know how to describe it, where he literally was stabbed, and this is just in the opening chapter. That was in Mexico, wasn't it?
No, it's in South Africa.
That's what I said. South Africa. It's just east of Mexico.
I was
No
thinking,
matter what name he went by at the time, you still got to be like,
I know exactly. Nope. Trust me. You should see him next to my wife. You want to see a funny ass picture?
Did you ever wrestle down in the Cologne area, down in Puerto Rico at all, Jeff?
oh yeah,
So,
that was really my first big start.
so you seen the craziness then?
Oh yeah.
It's just nuts. It's just that. So you know what, Jeff? If you don't mind, can you stick with us from this point forward?
Sure.
All right. Why not? We got you. Are you good till 11? Till the show's done?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So now introducing our celebrity special guest co-host for today's show.
Yes.
We'll get to the book at the top of the hour, only because that's where I've been telling people we'll actually talk about that. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to just keep talking topics. Chime in. We'll turn to you to any thoughts you might have on anything we're talking. Do you have any thoughts on anything we've already talked about? The belts, this new belt that Seth Rollins may win against AJ. Anything along any of that?
I worried about the whole movie situation with Seth and stuff. I mean, Seth, I think is the right person to put it on. He's kind of been the big carrier and stuff of Raw for the last while. So I mean, I really look at him to put it on Seth, but y'all were talking about earlier, so I don't know what the shooting schedule is and stuff for that movie he's doing with Captain America.
Right.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, as we saw during the logistics. If he's filming in Atlanta and some of the upcoming Raws are within a couple of hour jet flight time, it's conceivable, if the schedule works, that he can go back and forth and do what needs to be done for the title. Did you cross paths with superstar Billy Graham?
No, I never got the chance to. So I've got a friend of mine that was really good friends with him and stuff. That's also an ex-wrestler and stuff, and a very big, wrestling historian, Bill Anderson. And they were really close and stuff. He said it was just kind of heartbreaking to watch Billy fade.
Yeah.
I mean, he was such a great figure in wrestling. I mean, he was really the first, he was really the next one to take Gorgeous George and the Ali type of interview stuff. He was really the first one to get going after Gorgeous George.
Right.
And I was going to say, when Aaron said that, my first thought was Gorgeous George, then Buddy Rogers, and then Superstar.
Yeah, Rogers stuff was up there too.
Yeah.
It's the lineage of performers. When you look at, like, they talk about it in pro football, a head coach has its tree of coaches that branch off, like Bill Parcells when he coached. You have Sean Payton, of course, you have Bill Belichick, et cetera. When you look at guys like Gorgeous George and then Superstar, and you start building the trees of who kind of took a little bit of each of them.
Oh, yeah.
Ancestry.com has nothing that some of these wrestling traditions have been passed on. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It's, you look at today, because then you could go to, Jesse Ventura, like you mentioned,
Yep.
Ric Flair, of course. You can go right down the line, right? It's just nuts how the lineage is there, but that's part of wrestling history, right? I mean,
Sure.
in other sports, you could talk to an athlete today, and we'll just use football for an example, only because Jim Brown passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
You can talk to some of these young players coming into football now, coming out of college. They may not even know who Jim Brown is, or Barry Sanders. Well, wrestling, though, seems to be very different, because it just seems everybody knows the lineage and history of the golden era of pro wrestling. And I'm talking about, let's say, pre-75 or pre-80, even though here we talk about 90s as our dividing line. But you go 80s back, I would think it's really the true golden era of pro wrestling, where you have all those great names, Bruno's and, Larry Zbyszko, and, of course, going even further back. Jeff?
Oh, yeah. Stuff. I mean, that was probably the golden age and stuff was like mid 70s to 90s, I would say.
70s to 90s. That's fair.
See, I think about it. You know, Superstar comes out. The first guy that came to my mind was Jesse Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if Jesse didn't steal Superstar's character, his appearance,
The multicolors, everything.
you know, and Jesse carried it forward. But you look at it today, well, I think about it, and you know, maybe it's Big E and the boys wearing the tie dye and all that. Maybe they took a little bit of that from Superstar and they're moving it forward.
Right.
You know, so we don't lose it.
Right.
We don't lose it.
It carries forward. It's a
Yes.
legacy. It
Yes.
is what happens. So, all right, let's get back to our list here, and we'll pick up a couple other topics. John Cena says he wishes he could still be in WWE every day, but his body, of course, just can't do it anymore, and doesn't want to give the fans a bad product. I think we're all in agreement that he's done as a full-time performer. He's been that way for a handful of years, especially with his movies and TV stuff. I appreciate the fact that he recognizes that he doesn't want to go in there and not provide 100% that he can and has been known to do, and not give a good product, a good match.
True.
I think we saw this last appearance against Theory was not a long match. I think we can all see, I saw what I thought was some ring rust and things that just were not Cena-esque in tradition. I'm happy that he acknowledges that maybe, I'm done. He hasn't said I'm retired. However, your thoughts on Cena's perspective on this?
I think it's definitely good that he sees it like that, because there's a lot of wrestlers out there that'll just keep going, and he doesn't want to tarnish his legacy like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can kind of tell at like WrestleMania 39 that like full Cena was just not there.
Right.
Because when he left the ring and he walked by us, he was so out of breath that
he blew up, is what they say.
He's definitely used to the movie schedules.
That's right. Movie schedules and the TV show.
I think he went to the bar with Ric Flair and they talked about it, and Rick told him, said, "That's it. Don't do it.
Don't do it anymore."
That's my impression.
You think he talked to Ric Flair about retiring?
That's what I think happened. You know, if you remember Flair's retirement, when he talked about him and Cena closing the bar at 3-something in the morning, that's the reference I was making.
Jeff, when you stopped performing on a regular basis, you retired how many years ago?
2017.
Okay,
So
and you wrestled.
almost
I'm sorry. Okay, and you wrestled for how many years?
almost 31.
So,
Holy shit.
well, it's not bad for a guy who's only 35, right?
Yeah, no shit.
So here you are, you're 6 years removed, 7 years removed from that retirement announcement or decision. Was there any inkling or itch that came to you and said a couple of years later after you retired, you know what, I got one more match in me? Or did you know you were DUN done 6 years ago?
Yeah, there's always that hope or the wish and stuff of wanting to get back in the ring again. Because I miss the performing part of it. I miss being in front of the crowds. But I pretty well knew and stuff when I did my last match and stuff that I was that it was time for me to stop. And then of course, as you know, Aaron, stuff, I got diagnosed with Parkinson's. About 5 months after I had my last match. So
right,
yeah,
it was kind of you're done.
Yeah, with that diagnosis, I could see the closure for sure. It's curious, getting that itch, but Cena at least recognizes it and is going to keep that in mind moving forward. All right. Yes, sir. You can have the pen there. What's the next topic we want to go to? WWE's quest to legalize gambling may be needing some hurdles.
Who actually thought that was going to happen?
Well, they have in the past on I'm still going to call them pay-per-views. Screw the PLE stuff. In match things like who's going to be the first to deliver, this kind of move or whatever during a match or whatever. But I think it's a farce that that some company, I don't know, it wasn't DraftKings, it was one of the other ones, thinking about putting betting on pro wrestling. I mean, come on, really?
I got to know somebody in the company, be like, I'm gonna be rich.
Yes.
Hey, the script writers will be able to.
That's right. That's right. Talk about insider trading.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt has been removed from all internal rosters. However, they've got him on like some deactivation list, like an injured performer would be. Jeff, what's your take on the situation with Bray Wyatt? Obviously, when they brought him back, there was huge fanfare. They did the Uncle Howdy storyline a little bit with Alexa. That's all gone away. We haven't seen Bray in quite some time.
I don't know what the situation is. I'd love to know what it is that's supposed to be wrong with him. But I mean, it in some ways and stuff, it kind of felt like they got him up there. They did the big white rabbit thing, and they didn't really know where to go after that. I mean, I don't think LA Knight was the right person to put him in, and that match was terrible that they had on that pay-per-view. So I don't know. Except, I mean, I know he's a very well-liked character that people would like to see come back, but
right.
Who knows?
What's your thoughts on it, guys? Bray Wyatt. Oh, God, you were going to.
On Bray?
Yeah. Obviously, his return was not been good.
I want Bray to come back when Bray's able to come back, and when Bray and the WWE get together and come up with a game plan itself. I think I don't think everything was worked out before they asked him to come back.
Well, if it wasn't, shame on them, because they certainly have plenty of time.
Just my opinion.
Yeah, no, of course.
And
they literally just hired a new WWE writer solely for Bray Wyatt, so I'm hoping that's a good sign he comes back. But I think the whole reason he's gone is it's got to be like a mental health thing at this point, because he never wrestled enough to get like physically hurt.
Right.
So I think it's more a mental health thing, and he's just not like mentally in the right spot to be wrestling and leaving his family, and it could be a numerous amount of things, but I think all the fans want Bray Wyatt back, and maybe the Fiend come back, or the whole thing with Alexa, or
right.
There's plenty of storylines and stuff they can do, and
I think during this return, Uncle Howdy was probably more physical than Bray Wyatt was during the run.
True.
So, God, you got a point.
I was going to ask Jeff. Jeff, do you know, or have you ever met Bray's father or uncle in the wrestling business?
Yeah, Mulligan, I did.
Yeah.
They before. Let's see. I guess I was in high school and stuff after the Funks had sold the Amarillo territory and stuff to Blackjack Mulligan and Dick Murdoch.
Okay.
So I got to know Mulligan a little bit during that time.
Okay.
Jeez. Talk about two guys, Murdoch and Blackjack Mulligan. Holy crap.
Oh, what a pair those two were.
Exactly.
But then throw Dusty in with them, and then you really got a trio.
Oh, well, then add Terry Funk, and then you really have got it going.
Well, but then if you add Funk, you got to add Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
Did you ever face Brody?
No, I got to meet him a couple of times in high school and stuff when the Von Erichs bought the Amarillo territory and stuff from Mulligan and Murdoch. Then I got to know the Von Erichs a little bit, and Brody as well.
You not too long ago, Jeff, and you have to refresh my memory, you were inducted into a Wrestling Hall of Fame out that way, correct?
Yeah, the Southern Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2015.
Yeah, so he's a Hall of Famer himself. So congratulations on that. I'm looking in the chat room because these guys are blowing up.
I blocked them.
I got
two of those yahoos.
I got to become friends with you on Facebook. God, I want to talk to you. Oh, God.
Don't do it, Jeff.
Yeah, that once you.
Yeah, buddy.
He'll only want to talk about Bruno Sammartino. Anyway,
man,
you should. You did exactly. I just want to talk about something that's in the chat room because it was on the heels of the betting line. Somebody, I think it was somebody. It was Crawford. He says, "Do you think WWE Vegas attractions in the pipeline?" And let me just say this:
what the hell's Vegas attraction?
A hotel, a casino, a WWE casino. They had the WCW in the Tropicana for a while.
Really?
That didn't last very long. But they're also talking about the fact that Vince was looking at Dolly Parton's place down in was it Tennessee?
I'd be
wherever she
looking
is.
at Dolly Parton's place.
Well,
too.
that's
oh yeah.
that's a different roller coaster.
Okay.
However, they're not talking about the fact that the Royal Hotel on Convention Center Drive, there used to be the old blue building.
Yeah.
That the Debbie Reynolds Hotel. And Jeff, you were here, I think, when all that was going on. The Debbie Reynolds Hotel was supposed to be purchased by WWE and be turned into a WWE themed hotel. Then that didn't happen, and that's when WCW took over part of the Tropicana. They hosted pay-per-view events. They had a whole thing set up. And so they've already tried that stuff. WWE tried getting in here to buy the building. That fell through. WCW, like I said, they were short time in here. I don't know that a hotel would really go over very well with the international. For some it would from international because we know how big wrestling is across the world.
I must have been
But-
overseas then.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
But the restaurants never did very well for them. So I mean, why get into
Right.
something even bigger?
Right.
Hey, Jeff, before I got a question. I always get told that this can never happen.
It still can't.
Can
I know what you're about to
can
say.
there be a heel versus a heel match?
Sure.
Thank you.
I
Hell
would
yeah.
first heel match.
Ah,
I mean,
screw you guys.
I've been a heel and worked with Abdullah. You know, for anybody ever watched Abdullah the Butcher and stuff, I've worked with Abby as a heel.
It's all a matter of how the crowd accepts it.
Oh, you're just not going to accept. See, these guys bust me every freaking week, and I always have said you can have a heel versus a heel match. I've always said that. These two say no, you can't. There's got to be a good guy and there's got to be a bad guy. No, there doesn't.
No, not really. I mean, look at, the big feud with Brody and Abby and stuff. I mean, both of them were heels more than they were baby faces, and they've sold out arenas and stuff all around the country.
That's why it's called professional wrestling.
But even in a match like that, Jeff, that you mentioned, just as a topic of conversation, the crowd reaction, don't they usually like side one way or another and sort of react to one or the other as a face in a ring?
Easily.
Right. So
Sure.
yeah, it's absolutely. It still works out to some degree.
But
Where
it's-
a
but
role
you
reverses
can-
for of course
But you can have a heel
course.
versus a heel match. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Chief don't know what he's talking about.
I never said
Still don't.
See?
Wait a minute. I never said that. Matt, on the other hand.
And my brother.
All right, one more topic of conversation before we go to break at
What
the
do we
top of
want
the
to-
hour.
what do we want
I
to
want to
talk
talk about one of the two topics under the discussion topics here. John Cena calls Roman Reigns the greatest of all time. Thoughts? What do you guys think on that?
No.
Who would you put up there, Jeff, as the greatest of all time?
It would depend on the time and the region that it was happening in. I mean, I always thought in late 60s, early 70s, when Dory Funk Jr. and stuff was the World Heavyweight Champion for the NWA. Always thought Dory was a great champion because Dory always looked beatable. Anybody you put in the ring with him, he looked like you could have a chance. And I thought that made for a great world champion and stuff, to be able to hit all the different territories like that and be able to work with anybody on the card. And that all changed and stuff, after a while when Flair started with WCW and stuff, really kind of changed the whole NWA
Right.
title scene.
Right on. Guys, what's your thoughts on Cena's comment?
I think in like 20 years' time, when like Roman Reigns is like gone and retired, he might be able to be in that conversation just because of everything he's done. But right now, I wouldn't put him in that category. Well, I think the greatest of all time is.
You know,
Yeah, I'll give you a moment to think on that.
one name we don't hear a
See
lot.
how old this is gonna be.
We don't hear a lot about as the greatest of all time. A person that
See Bruno.
doesn't come up in the conversation a lot is Lou Thez.
That was a completely different era, though.
Exactly. But when you say greatest of all time,
Freddie Blassie.
when you say greatest of all time, do we include all the eras or just the current era?
Well, all time.
All time means all time.
Then I'm going to throw Lou Thesz's name out
I was
there.
waiting for you guys to respond. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw Lou Thez out there.
Okay, that's cool. Did you come up with a name before we go to break?
I would say just off like ring merchandise, pay-per-views.
Let's see where this goes.
The guy who like revolutionized everything, it has to be Hulk Hogan.
Tom Crawford puts in here, he says, by his recollection, the last time there was a WWE, WWF champion of 3+ years was Hulk Hogan. So, food for thought. You know who my favorite wrestler is of all time? Watch this suck up. Jeff Bearden, the Giant Warrior. And he'll be back with us to talk about his book.
My favorite too.
That's right. He'll be back with us after the break to talk about his book, The Man Behind the Makeup. You're watching Thoughts Count Anywhere with Matt, Chief, myself, John behind the board, the Giant Warrior as well. We come back right after this.
D'Lo Brown, if you want to be part of one of the greatest podcasts on the world, Thoughts Count Anywhere, every Saturday, 9 to 11 Pacific. Now recognize that.
Hey everybody, Aaron Phillips, and I'm standing with
Anthony Miller.
Hey, I have a quick question for you. What's the name of your favorite wrestling show?
Thoughts Count Anywhere.
What a convenience. Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific. If this guy watches it, better watch it also on Facebook. This is your Warlord of Weird Sinbodi, and you are watching Thoughts Count Anywhere right here on Facebook, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. Pacific Coast time. Stay tuned. Do I look like I'm clowning around? Buddy, I'm Aaron Phillips, and I am with the legend. And Sabu, you were telling me earlier about a special wrestling show that you really like, and that is what? Thoughts Count Anywhere. That's a coincidence. The same show that runs Saturdays, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific, right here on Facebook. You better listen to the man to watch.
Aloha, this is April Hom, the Royal Hawaiian from Glow, and you're watching Thoughts Count Anywhere.
Boing.
All right, welcome back. Thoughts Count Anywhere. Hour number 1 is in the books, which means we have now crossed over into hour number 2, where we now begin a highlight time with our guest, Jeff Bearden. That's Matt Mullen. Chief, I'm Aaron. Welcome everybody again for staying with us. And now we had some fun with Jeff in that last part of the first hour, but now we're going to focus on his book called The Man Behind the Makeup, The Professional Wrestling Life and Times of Jeff Bearden, who wrestled as Giant Warrior, Big Tiger Steel, Colossus the Gladiator, and Butch Masters. And Jeff, I can only imagine what it took to put this together, but before I ask you to answer that, I'm being stared down for some reason by Chief.
Uh-oh.
Just cataracts.
Jeff, I had my cataracts removed a long time ago, probably before you were born. Anyway,
Did you even have cataracts back then?
yeah. Anyway, Jeff, and I'm going to ask, what areas or what territories over your career of 31 years, see, they don't think I listen, but I do, did you wrestle in? And who are some of the big stars that you've wrestled before we get to your book?
Well, I started with Jim Crockett Promotions in '87. So I worked that whole Carolinas up to Pennsylvania down to the Georgia territory with them and stuff. And then I kind of bounced around doing little independent shows for a while. And then I ended up in Puerto Rico for Carlos Colon with World Wrestling Council.
Okay.
And I was there for a couple of years. I worked for the Arena Mexico group out of Mexico City. I worked with UWA that used to wrestle in the Torreo de Cuatro Caminos in Mexico City. I've wrestled for AAA in Mexico. I've worked all over Europe, Africa, South Africa, Japan. Worked with All Japan with them, FMW as well. So, I've been in about 25 different countries with the wrestling. So
was All Japan was that Baba?
That was Baba's company.
Baba's company, right?
Yes.
So I got to ask, did you have the chance to get in the ring with, have two big giants in the ring wrestling each other at all?
Yep. Wrestled against Baba and Andre the Giant as a tag team.
Oh, shit.
Hey, we need to have like a coffee clutch conversation with all of that. Matt, what you got for a question?
Since like you've met like Andre and everybody's always said like what a colossal human he is and how intimidating he is, being like a 7 foot tall guy yourself, what was your thoughts meeting Andre the Giant?
Andre wasn't as tall as he was billed, by no means. I mean, Andre wasn't really half an inch taller than I am.
Wow.
And,
Oh, wow.
you know, but he was massive. I know when we first wrestled against each other, you know, we did the whole test of strength thing with the hands. And Andre put his hand up there, and I put mine up against his, and I barely got over the palm of his hand.
Wow.
I had never seen my hand look so small compared to anybody.
Yeah.
And
That's
it was
crazy.
shocking. And I guess the look on my face, it kind of tickled Andre and stuff, because, I mean, he kind of giggled and stuff, which, you know, Andre didn't always do that. But he kind of laughed at the look on my face. I've never seen somebody make my hands look small. But Andre did.
Wow. WWE just had a show down in Puerto Rico a couple of weeks ago. Very successful, very well received down there. You mentioned you wrestled down there for the Clones. What was your experience like down there in Puerto Rico to wrestle down there?
I was luckier than most of the Americans that went down there, because I was a babyface the whole time I was in Puerto Rico. So the heels had it a lot rougher than I did, stuff with, God, spark plugs, rocks, cups of dirt, bottles. Believe it or not, M&Ms can hurt. Those peanut M&Ms and stuff don't feel very good when they're
Did they melt in your mouth, however?
And they weren't exactly the best of aims. So every once in a while, and stuff, I got hit by mistake. So,
well, at least they didn't try to set you on fire like you talked about in your introduction.
That was South Africa. They tried to set me
right.
on fire.
Could you imagine that, being in the ring, so hated that while you're in the ring, you can't get out, and people come over the railing to set the ring on fire to try to get you? I mean, and that's just in the introduction for the book. Okay, imagine what the rest of it's going to be like.
And on page 2.
And on page 2, right? Exactly.
Like I told you, I'm going to buy the book.
Yes.
But
Well, you know, that's the story you're talking about, Aaron, and stuff. When they tried to set me on fire, is just the one of 5 different occasions I got stabbed.
Right. Well, I didn't. Yeah, and the first stabbing is in that intro. I didn't get to all the other ones yet, so I know where there's smoke, there's fire, so to speak.
Yeah, literally.
well, with you wrestling Abby, I'm sure down in Puerto Rico, I'm surprised that you didn't see a riot with him down there. In the Coliseum.
But I mean, they always threw stuff in Puerto Rico.
Yep.
You know, so a lot of it just depends on, you know, how close you are to the people too. You know, a lot of times and stuff, we were on the pitcher's mound and stuff at a baseball stadium. So, I mean, it's kind of hard for them to hit you with a lot of stuff.
Jeff, what was it like first of all, what was the decision for you to sit down and pen a book about your experience? What was that like?
You know, it's like a lot of people, you know, you're going to encounter it as well and stuff from all the speaking and things that you do around Las Vegas. You know, you always get those people when you've kind of got a little colorful life that are always like, oh, you got to write a book. Oh, I love that story. You need to put it in a book and write a book. You know, and then my wife kind of got on to me and stuff about, well, let's go ahead and get a book done for you. You know, because, I mean, she wants it because, I mean, most people don't realize this stuff, but my wife is 25 years younger than I am. So
lucky devil.
Have that thing that she could fall back on and read the day something happens to me.
I want to say, in Jeff's opening book, PJ Black, who he's good friends with, wrote the forward in the book.
Nice.
That's my South African son.
Yep. And for all the years that I've known Jeff, I don't know if you guys realize this, but I actually had Jeff write the forward in my book. So it was a great honor to have Jeff write the forward for my book.
It was an honor for you to ask me to do it.
Well, thank you, bud. I appreciate that. So how long did it take you to write the book and compile? Did you have notes of things or because you're obviously, and I shared it with these guys, Brittany was my ghostwriter for my book.
Right.
And she asked me questions about things I totally forgot I knew about. And that's the beauty of a ghostwriter. Obviously, she helped you with your book, yes?
Not really.
Never mind. Your Honor, I withdraw the question.
Well, I mean, Britt and I own two different companies and stuff. We own a public relations company called At Large PR.
John.
But then we also have a publishing company that we do ghostwriting for other people and stuff called Clarence Publishing. And so I used one of our we have a group of ghostwriters that write for us and stuff. So I used one of our other ghostwriters stuff to do it. She's got too much stuff to mess with me.
There you go. Yes. So we're going to pop up some of the pictures that you sent to me so people who are not familiar with you being in the ring can see those times. Real quickly, where can people get information who want to write a book about the companies you mentioned? I mean, might as well give them a pop, right?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, Clarence Publishing is where you need to go and stuff if you're interested in doing anything with ghostwriting and having a book written for you. And then, once we've got the book written and everything and stuff, we kind of shift everything to At Large PR, and then we do the publicity for the book and get that out there and stuff so people know more about the book.
Website?
Clarence Publishing is the site for the ghostwriting.
And it's clarencepublishing.com?
Yes. clarencepublishing.com. AtLargePR.com is the public relations company.
Gotcha. All right. We'll try to get at least clarencepublishing.com up on the scroll, up on the crawl. Now, where can people get the book? More importantly,
you can get the book on Amazon. We're just getting ready to launch it to where it's going to be at Barnes and Noble. It's going out to about 40 different sites and stuff to be able to get the book out there where you can buy it, but mainly through Amazon.
Okay.
Just go to Amazon, and then you can also get the audio book on audible.com.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's still a project I have to get done on my book, is the audio version, because I get asked about it. Cool. All right, so that's where we can get that, and obviously just search it on Amazon. Matt, next question, if you would, please. I know you have a couple over there.
I've always had I always hear a lot of wrestling fans nowadays talk all this crap about Omos and how bad he is, but all the big wrestlers, like The Undertaker, thinks he's the biggest up and coming thing going around now. As you being a big guy, what are your thoughts on Omos and what advice would you give to a new giant coming into the wrestling business?
Jeff, we lost your camera.
I lost y'all's camera too.
We hear you though. Put up one of those pictures. So did you hear Matt's question?
Yes, as far as a new big guy.
Yep. So go ahead and answer that.
I like that now and stuff. They're kind of letting some of the bigger guys do things that are more associated with smaller guys. It's like when I first started stuff, I was able to drop kick fairly well. I mean, I was a basketball player, so I could jump. But as soon as I got to Puerto Rico, they put a stop to that. They didn't want me to do anything and stuff that's, as far as me doing a drop kick or something like that. They wanted me to have more of that big man, Andre the Giant style, Bruiser Brody style, that style of wrestling. But, I could chain wrestle with anybody and stuff. I mean, I was trained by Dory Funk Jr. I mean, Dory was one of the best technical wrestlers in the business. So, I mean, I could do all of that. But, yeah, it just didn't fit my character and stuff for me to be doing a lot of chain wrestling. I mean, I got in a big argument one night with Mil Mascaras in Mexico City. And he was upset with me because I wouldn't chain wrestle with him. And I'm like, he's like, well, Dory Funk Jr. was your trainer. I said, yeah, but he also taught me and stuff how to work my gimmick and not just get out there and, bump for everybody that wanted to give me a tackle. So, I mean, it just didn't fit my characters and stuff for me to be, to do a lot of chain wrestling and things like that. It's not that I couldn't, but I just didn't.
Jeff, what I'd like to do, we're going to step aside for our break a minute or two early. We lost the camera connection. So what I'm going to ask you to do during the break is to disconnect and reconnect on the link again, hoping that will bring the camera connection back, if that's okay. All right. So you're watching. We're watching Thoughts. We're all watching Thoughts Count Anywhere with guest Jeff Bearden about his book, The Man Behind the Makeup, and his stories are just incredibly crazy. We'll be right back after this.
This is the story of one man's incredible journey from 350 to 200-pound weight loss and his mission to help and inspire others. Aaron Phillips. People are praising Aaron's new book with 5-star reviews. Aaron's various humorous and wildly entertaining stories portray his rise as a sports announcer, his encounters with exotic and irregular entertainers on the Las Vegas Strip through his long-running Vegas Unwrapped radio show, and his contagious and positive style of pursuing success. Call now or visit our website or Amazon now to get your copy of Let My Voice Speak to You, stories from a Hall of Fame radio personality. Order now.
Read it. Oh.
All right, welcome back. We have the Giant Warrior back on screen with us.
Hey, we're back and going again.
There you go. So appreciate it. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thoughts Count Anywhere, whether you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook or listening to us on the phone apps. We appreciate it. Of course, if you miss anything or want to revisit Jeff's stories and get more information about his book, the PR company, the publishing company, you can also go to Roku. Make sure you download the WWDBTV channel to Roku. And not only will you catch this show and all the shows of Thoughts Count Anywhere, but we will catch how many? How many shows?
85 or 30.
A plethora?
Are you talking to me?
All of a sudden, he does Robert De Niro. But yeah, there's a lot of shows to watch. Go check it out. Jeez Louise.
And he's gone.
Jeff is like, screw this. I don't want to stay on with these guys. Gee. All right, go ahead. You have a question.
Jeff, out of your career, is there a story that you didn't get to be able to be put into your book that you would want in your book now, or volume 2 of your book?
I don't know if there'll be a volume 2. We've talked about possibly doing an addition to a second edition and stuff with some more stuff added to it. I mean, there were stories that came up after the book was written and stuff. I'm like, oh God, I wish I'd added that story to it, or I wish I'd added that story to it. And so, yeah, there were some stuff. I mean, there were more funny things than they were, serious stuff. I mean, I had just bought a 280ZX or 300ZX in Puerto Rico when I was there.
Small car.
Yeah. Well, T-tops came out, so that made it a lot easier.
Well, he had the T-tops. That's why he bought it. So
One for each foot.
One for each foot, yes. But I had gotten pulled over one night, and the cop that pulled me over said that I was doing 105.
Wow.
And that was back when speed limit was 55?
Yeah.
So as we were sitting there and stuff, and the cops talking to me and stuff, a car flies by me and stuff, and it was Scott Hall and the Texas Hangman. So they were really giving me fits as they were driving by. But the cop, as he was looking at me and stuff, he's like, wait a minute and stuff. He said, are you Giant Warrior? And I said, yes. He said, you're my son's favorite wrestler. So he brings me over his notepad and everything. He said, would you mind signing an autograph for my son? I said, sure, no problem.
He was signing.
All he said stuff was, well, next time a little more slow. Great. I was out of there and stuff, and I ended up catching up with those idiots and stuff before we got
See, notoriety can get you out of stuff. That's
It can at times.
so. All right, Matt, you got one there? Let's do the last one first. The last question you have on there, because Duke Lawrence's name was thrown in the chat room by Thomas Crawford, and I think this would be applicable. So
I'll say, like, skimming through your book, I saw like you're good friends with Yokozuna. What did like Yokozuna mean to you, and how did you become friends with him?
Oh God. Rod was the greatest person and stuff I've ever met in my life. Best friend that I've ever had. We actually met shortly after I left Crockett, so I guess I've been wrestling for about 3 months and was wrestling with a little group in Pensacola, Florida and stuff, where Rodney and stuff was actually starting off as Coquina Maximus, I believe.
Okay.
And I wrestled a match with him and his cousin Samu. So, so I got to know Rodney a little bit from working in there. And then we were both working for the UWA for Carlos Minez in Mexico City. And Minez brought us in and put us together as a tag team. And so we did the tag team thing and stuff in Mexico City for close to 2 years. We would go in for 15 days and then we'd be gone for 4 weeks. And we come back in for 15 and so forth. And for me, I lived in Texas at the time, so it was easier for me to go do the border shows, where Rodney wasn't really able to do that as easy. And we didn't like where things in the office ended up going and stuff. Things started changing with our money and everything. So we gave our notice and we quit going. And we kind of lost contact with each other. So a few years later, stuff like this phone call and stuff when I was living in South Africa, I also worked for a security company doing a lot of bodyguarding work. And we got this call and stuff that said, would y'all like to do some bodyguarding work with a bunch of wrestlers coming in from the States? And so we, found out a little bit about who it was that was coming in. And my boss at the time was like, well, you want to do this? I'm like, sure. So my job and stuff, once they got there and stuff, is Rod was coming off the elevator and you couldn't see me behind a bunch of trees. And I had said something to him and stuff about, God, that guy's so fat. And he recognized my voice. And the first thing went, Jeff, where are you? So we were able to reconnect there. So my job ended up being, Rod could not get onto the bus. He couldn't fit. So my job and stuff was to drive him around in a van and stuff for a week.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, so we got reconnected and stuff there, and he came back in a second time, and I drove him around that time. And then we kind of got apart again, and then we got together working on a couple of tours going to Saudi Arabia. And we went somewhere else, and I can't think of where that was. But then he gave me a call and said, do you want to go to England with me? And so I was sure I'd tour anywhere and stuff he wanted to go. And that was where he had died. There was in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And we were all staying in Birkenhead, so we weren't in the hotel and stuff that he was staying in Liverpool. And we went to the hotel to pick him up that night. And he wasn't down the lobby, which was, very unusual for him. But, so, I mean, we went up to get him and he didn't answer the door. And, so we got the hotel to open the door up and, I mean, he had passed away.
Oh, wow.
Did you?
So I had to contact the family and, Rikishi and Alpha, and I helped his sister Venus when she came over and, to get him home. The promoter wasn't just a whole lot of help and stuff with the whole situation, but, I pretty well put my foot down that we needed to do something. So, I mean, I made them do the 10 bell count, every night before the matches.
Yep.
Right.
And, we were able to get him home and, and I want to say they sent him home in a special type of casket and stuff because they couldn't find one that was big enough for him.
Jeez.
And
Wow.
he was flown home and stuff on cargo and stuff rather than his personal.
Right.
Did you see the the A&E does the stories on highlighting wrestlers? Because they had Yokozuna as one of them this past season. Did you happen to catch it?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think
It was
about it?
very well done.
There
You
you go.
actually can see me in that.
Really?
Yeah, at the very end of the show, so if they're showing a match from one of the English shows and stuff that we did, stuff where we were running our mouths to each other and stuff with me outside the ring and him up in it. So that brought back some good memories when I saw it.
Right on.
Nice.
I'll have to go back and watch it. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, me too.
It's interesting how you don't notice a 7-foot person in it. That's like crazy. Chief, go ahead.
Far away shot.
Yeah.
No, I was going to ask you, what advice would you give a young person today wanting to get into the business that say they're 6'9", 6'10", or taller today? What advice would you give them
Play basketball.
to get into the business?
Play basketball. Don't do it. It's the wrestling business and stuff is a very hard business. And I mean, it's in there for a great while and stuff. If you weren't working with WWE, you weren't really making any money. So I mean, trying to do, that's one reason why I stayed on international shows so much and stuff, is I was making a pretty good living and stuff at doing the international stuff. But you just don't have the territories and stuff are not there anymore. But there's now a new influx and stuff of independent promotions and stuff out there where there is places for guys to go where they can wrestle now.
Right.
So I mean, stay as agile. If you're a big guy and stuff, be as agile as you can. Get your strength up, because you spend a lot of time when you're my size of catching a lot of people, and so especially down in Mexico and stuff with everybody doing the cross bodies and everything off of the top top ropes to the floor and things like that. So I mean, as a big guy, you've got to be able to support these guys and stuff when they start doing all the flying, because you don't realize how heavy a 220-pound person can be until they jump off that top rope and are coming right down on top of you.
Yeah, that gravity's a bitch, right?
Yeah, it tends to happen all the time.
Nice, William and Ben in the chat room. Yeah. You have a shout out there, Chief?
Shout out to Top Rope Collectibles, Ben Bowman, Will Hudson down in Florida and Kentucky. Morning, guys.
Yeah, thank you for
Glad
tuning
you're
in.
with us.
Those guys are big supporters of ours.
Absolutely.
We appreciate them chiming in. Would you, obviously, again, we talked about it at the beginning, you're not active in the ring. You haven't been since you retired because of your medical situation. Would you ever consider training new prospects? Did you ever think about that?
There is a school in Amarillo, Texas, where I'm from and stuff, that I go when I go see my dad at his house in Amarillo and stuff. I do go work with their kids a little bit.
Okay.
I've had a hard time and stuff as far as being able to get in the ring because my balance isn't really good anymore.
Sure.
So it's hard for me to do stuff in the ring, but I mean, I can walk people through it and talk them through things.
Right.
So I do go in and talk to their kids and stuff whenever I'm in town.
Well, that's good, because in my opinion, to have all that information in your head of your experience and not being able to share it on some level is a resource that needs to be tapped into by some of our younger professionals who want to do well in pro wrestling. And it would be a shame not to have access to Jeff Bearden and have him be able to teach them something in the ring. Yes.
I enjoy working with young kids and trying to give them advice and stuff where I can. And, hopefully it's something they can take with them and do something with it.
I got something. The light bulb just went off in my head.
Is that what that pop was?
I've been hit a few times, but anyway.
So have I.
You worked in the Crockett Promotions. Did you ever wrestle a gentleman by the name of Big Swede Hansen?
No, I remember watching Sweet Hansen when him and Rip Hawk were a tag team in Amarillo when I was a kid.
Right.
I remember watching him, but I never got a chance to meet him. I think he was dead before I started wrestling.
Okay.
Matt?
I usually have the same question for everybody, but I put a little spin on it because
it's you.
So what is your Mount Rushmore of giants in wrestling?
Ooh. As far as giants in wrestling, Andre, of course. I mean, he was, the first big giant and stuff that everybody got to see. But going back to some older ones, Don Leo Jonathan, he was 6'9", 6'10", and stuff, but he could move for a big guy, so he could get around the ring and stuff really well.
Wow.
Well, it's hard to say. John Studd was another one and stuff that, that did really well and stuff with his size.
Jeff Bearden.
Undertaker and stuff is probably the most agile of the big mans and stuff to ever be in the ring.
Yeah.
So that would probably be my top 4.
Andre the Giant was so big he could be all 4 positions on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Andre was a big man, but he could move when he was young.
Yeah. We're going to step.
That's with him and Antonio Inoki and stuff. And I mean, he was taking bumps over the top rope and everything else.
Yeah. Times for him then to transition to becoming the attraction. We saw a very different side of him. All right, we're going to step aside for our break for the second hour. Please make sure you stay with us here at TCA. Jeff Bearden joins us. We'll talk about his book, The Man Behind the Makeup, is available on Amazon. You can get that now. It's also on audiobooks as well. You can download and get it because the stories will open your eyes to wrestling back in the day. You're watching TCA. We'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Aaron Phillips here, inviting you to join me every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. right here on Worldwide Digital Broadcasting TV on my show, Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips. I bring to you the movers and shakers of Las Vegas and really all around the world. It's also fun, entertaining, silly, goofy, informative, everything you'd want to be entertained by on a Saturday, except no politics, no religion. As I said, it's designed to be a fun show. Remember, that's every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, right here, Aaron's Hour, Worldwide Digital Broadcasting TV.
Thoughts count anywhere. Y'all watching it. This is my new tag team partner, Steve-O, a.k.a. Zeus, from the hit movie Friday, and from No Holds Barred.
Hello, this is Martin Casals, a.k.a. Marty the Mob, and you're watching the Thoughts Count Anywhere podcast. Enjoy.
What's up, man? It's your boy, Stephen Fatu. I'm here with my man, Big Chief. I need you to check out the podcast, Thoughts Count Anywhere.
This is Impact Wrestling's Dash and Chris Bay, the ultimate finesser, former Finesse Division champion, and you're listening to Thoughts Count Anywhere podcast.
Hi, I'm Sean Navari. Listen to Thoughts Count Anywhere for all your wrestling news.
It's not the worst podcast ever, is it? It's the best podcast. Thoughts Count Anywhere. All your wrestling news, all your hobbit-cha-hey, all your gimmickry. Go on over, listen wherever your podcasts are downloaded. The Thoughts Count Anywhere podcast. I'm the big LG Doc Ellis. That's my endorsement. Booyah!
This is the Essential Character EC3 on behalf of my dear friends at Thoughts Count Anywhere. The podcast for your mind when you need deep thinking about all things sports and entertainment.
Hey, what's going on? This is Axe, and I'm smashing the demolition.
Hey, we want to invite you to watch every Saturday morning, Thoughts Count Anywhere.
Hey guys, it's Tessa Blanchard and Ozzy, and you're watching Thoughts Count Anywhere.
All right, welcome back. Thoughts Count Anywhere. Jeff, I hope you took notice of the last sequence of spots, because if it's okay with you after we're done, we're going to steal it for 15 seconds to do a spot like that for us. Is that all right?
Sure, no problem.
I'm glad he said yes.
Checks in the mail.
I'm glad he said yes, because if he said no, I wouldn't debate him. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm going to ask the question. Have you ever crossed paths with Axe and Smash of Demolition?
Yes. Yes, I got to wrestle with them on the anniversary show in Puerto Rico, I think 1991 and stuff. I was tagged with Savio Vega.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
You know, listen, I got to be honest with you, Jeff. During the break, listen, we love Chief to a level that I don't think anybody can understand, and we bust his nuts for being the old school guy, and I'm with him on a lot of the stuff. But I got to tell you,
He's
And
nuts.
Yeah. I knew he would enjoy this interview with you. And although we interviewed with you in the past, it was very different. We brought you on to just chat with us. He sat back in his chair and he said to us, he says, I could listen to these stories and chat with him for hours. And
oh, yeah.
It's rare. And I say this with all due respect. It's rare to see Chief be humbled by the stories of that day, because he's got stuff in this noggin of his about pro wrestling that we only wish we can sometimes put a can opener into and let some of it pour out.
Not me.
Not John, but that's okay. So I want you to know how much this guy is just sitting and absorbing all the stories, as we all are, of what you're sharing with your experience. And
the two things that come, the one thing that keeps coming up in my mind right now is that you were trained by Dory Funk Jr.
Yeah, I was trained by Dory Funk Jr. Dick Murdoch.
It doesn't get any better than that,
No.
brother. Especially with the Texas redneck.
Yeah.
You know what? When he gets the book, he's going to have a box of tissues, because he's got like all the memories are going to be flooding back, and he's going to be tearing up. I'm going to have to make sure Liz takes a picture of all that when you're reading the book.
It's funny, Jeff, because when we were at break, I said to Aaron, I said, there's a name I haven't heard in years, Don Leo Jonathan.
Yeah.
That's not a name that comes up frequently on our show.
But I'm
No,
gonna,
he was more of a 70s wrestler.
but I'm going to tell you something. The man could go. For a big man, he could go.
Yeah, he really could and stuff. He was a good hand and stuff back then.
So let me ask you, you went over to Japan, you worked for Baba. Coming forward, I've had the good fortune of being stationed over there when I was in the Navy. I've been to Corrigan Hall to see wrestling events.
Very famous place.
I'm sure you know it as well as I do. I got to see some great Japanese wrestling, and American wrestlers come over.
Right.
Stan Hansen was one of the best to ever come over to Japan. So I want to know, what was your thoughts of wrestling in Japan?
It's a completely different creature than wrestling in the States, or even in Puerto Rico for that matter. I was still pretty green when I first went over there. I'd only been wrestling for about 3 years. So, I was still pretty green. But the first thing that I noticed that was so much different is that we're so used to playing with the crowd now. And we can blend the crowd into part of our gimmick and our stick and stuff when we're in the ring. But Japan was completely different, because they were quiet throughout the whole match. And then all of a sudden you do a big move, a big bump, and all you just, ooh, and then they go right back to being quiet again.
Yes.
And it was the strangest thing, because, I had always, I've always found people and stuff that I could mess with out in the audience. And they just looked at you.
Yes.
So, it was the strangest thing. And, we would get the referee, Joe Higuchi. Joe and stuff would come into the dressing room and tell us, okay, you can go outside on this side of the ring. Is this side, don't go on, all Yakuza. There's all Mafia sitting on that side of the ring. And says, so don't go out there. Don't take a chance on blood getting spilled on somebody's fur coat or, so, that was a very different thing. And it was, and plus the working style in Japan is a lot rougher than what it is, working in the States, working in Puerto Rico and stuff like that. Everything is solid in Japan, because if they can't hear it, they don't believe it.
Exactly.
So, you've got to lay it in there and stuff where things pop, or the people just look at you like you're nothing.
Yep.
I just want to remind everybody, the book, The Man Behind the Makeup, is available now on Amazon and audio files. You can download it there. I'm going to read it from the back page. Bearden's unusual career and his freedom to choose venues anywhere and everywhere provides unique insight into the wrestling world. He takes readers around the globe to learn the secrets and truths of a life spent joyfully whipping crowds into a frenzy from inside the ring, as well as his personal life outside. in wrestling and in life, you're only as good as the guy you beat, even if that guy is yourself. I've seen Jeff. One of the first opportunities I had with Jeff after we became friends and did the show, he was invited to speak, and I was the MC for that. With
the happiness conference.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And to hear Jeff speak publicly, and you didn't even speak about wrestling. You were there to talk about your experiences and the uplifting side of life. Now, you talked about wrestling and how that influenced that, but for a guy, you know, you commanded the stage not just because of your size, but the way you delivered the stories. I think everybody was sitting on the edge of their seats, just wanting to absorb every word that you were sharing with them for inspiration.
I really enjoyed it and stuff. It was really fun and stuff, being invited to that, you know, and I felt like it was an honor for me instead of being invited to it to be able to speak. So yeah, that was a great experience. And, you know, like you said, you and I met each other for the first time, and you invited me on your show, and we've been friends ever since.
Just, you know, it's you're graced with people in your life from a perspective that you never thought that you would ever meet people, let alone say hi. But to have, you know, Jeff, I could throw Rick Upchurch into that conversation, you know, people like that. It's just nuts how, you know, you meet somebody and you just connect no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And not to get, you know, weeby about this, but that's what we need to do as a world. We need to look at people and just befriend them some way, some form. And I'm honored that Jeff wrote the forward of my book and to be able to call him a friend and to enjoy the book, because we all have that in common, all four of us and everybody listening. And John is learning more about wrestling nowadays. But no matter what, when you find common ground with somebody from all walks of life, whatever it is, that's a pretty good thing. I wish people would spend more time doing that, and I think we have a lot less problems on the globe, but I digress.
Everyone wants to find the differences nowadays instead of what's in common.
There you go. Well said. Well said.
You know, and it's not just us. You know, you and I get along so well, but our wives get along with each other. So, I mean, you know, y'all are usually the first people that we get in touch with whenever we come to Las Vegas.
Absolutely. And it just, you guys have met my wife, so you know she's vertically challenged, as they say.
Yeah, we don't know how she puts up with you.
My dad sends her a check every month and says thank you.
Yeah.
But Jeff's wife, Brittany, is not that much taller than my wife. So
she's short like Liz.
She's vertically challenged.
She's a little less vertically challenged than my wife, maybe by an inch or two, but the four of us, when we get together, it is the funniest freaking pictures, because Jeff and I are like bookends.
Yeah.
Next to these two short people. It's just funny. But
has Liz been in the chat?
No, I haven't seen her yet. No. Anyway, all right. With that, so the book is out there. It's on Amazon. Please make sure you get it. The Man Behind the Makeup. And there are times, by the way, fellas, that I dip into my friendship with Jeff, and I ask him to try to help us arrange to get us with an interview with the certain female wrestler who is now part of AEW. I think now people know her as Saraya, but we know her, of course, as Paige, because you're very familiar and know the family very well, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I actually had her in tears one night and stuff when I chokeslammed her mother through a table.
Are you still on the Christmas card list then?
Yeah, she wasn't real happy with me after the show, that's for sure. You know, so I'm still trying. I talked to her dad and stuff.
I would assume that
regular.
Right.
I would assume that was when you were over in the England territory, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked around the England area in the UK for a couple of years and stuff in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Right on. All right. We are at quarter of, and it is time. We're going to shift to our happy birthdays, because I know there's someone in the chat room that I promised to make sure we get out the shout out.
She is here.
So I know she's in there. Jeff, we have a friend of ours who lives out in Hawaii, knows very little about wrestling, but for some reason finds the three of us very entertaining. And she joins in just to watch the stupidity with which we deliver at times and the fun that we have, more importantly. So she is in the chat room. Her birthday. Here we go. Let's hit it, Mr. Band. Let's hit it. If you are celebrating a birthday, May 26th, next Friday, you are celebrating a birthday with these people. Today, May 20th, Road Dogg, Daniela Camella.
Yep.
That's a rhyming name. Akam?
Yes.
Rick Upchurch, co-host of The Roundtable, former Denver Bronco wide receiver. You are celebrating birthday May 21st with the following: Chris Benoit, Ibushi, Leva Bates, Mr. T, You've Pitied a Fool, and Garrett Dillon.
I did it for my mama.
That's it. May 22nd, Brian Pillman, Scott Putsky, Daniel Bryan, Tracy Brooks, Joe Coffey, Cyclope? Really? With an E on the end?
Yeah.
I just taught my kids that's a long O sound. But he says
The Spanish version.
Oh, the Spanish version. Thank you.
Code-based.
And the aforementioned friend of ours from Hawaii. Gentlemen, I think we need to do this all together for her. 1, 2, 3. Jennifer McCord. There you go. Happy birthday. Jeff, send Jennifer McCord a happy birthday to her for us.
Jennifer, happy birthday. Glad you could be here today.
There you go. May 23rd, Alex Shelley, Bray Wyatt, Donna Cristianello. May 24th, Elijah Burke. May 25th, Ricky Banderas, Alberto Del Rio, Roman Reigns, Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, and Saito. And on May 26th, Ashley, Jess McMahon. Wow. And Simon Diamond. Happy birthday to each and every one of you out there celebrating. Please make sure it's a safe birthday so we can see your lovely names and faces with us every week. Yes, sir. You're welcome, Jennifer.
Miss Jennifer, when do you get out of school, my dear? What's your last day of teaching?
Yeah, that's a good question. This way we know if she's going to enjoy the beaches of Hawaii sooner than later.
Maybe she's coming back to Vegas.
She is. I do know that for sure. She's coming back at the end of June, beginning of July.
There you go.
So we will make sure that we have her with us if she is so inclined.
Absolutely.
Jeff, I'll tell you, you talk about a super fan, and I know you had him no matter what side of the rope you were on, but Jennifer surely is a super fan of everything we do.
She's a fan of the Chief.
But she still follows Aaron's hour.
She's a fan of the Chief.
She is a fan of the Chiefs. That's
right.
his only one.
That's it.
And
I pay her $5 every month.
There you go. And you send her a workout tape, don't you?
I've been behaving myself.
He has the only OnlyFans account where he has to pay the subscriber.
Yeah.
I've been behaving today. Let's not start
You
out.
have? Yes, you have. Jennifer says the kids' last day is this upcoming Friday. So she has a few more days than we do here in Clark County. But yeah, happy birthday to her. And we appreciate her following. All right, Jeff, let me ask you this question. We're going to go over some more topics around the world of pro wrestling in general, but what's your thoughts on pro wrestling today?
How
much?
I'm not a huge fan of it.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say, based on the delay of your response, should say everything we need to know.
I'm not a huge fan of it because I mean, when I came into wrestling and stuff, we were still trying to, make wrestling and stuff look like it's believable.
Right.
So I mean, it was a completely, different monster than what it is today. Today, it's all about the athleticism and who can do the most acrobatic moves and things like this. And I just, I don't care for it that much. It's not something that I'm going to turn on to watch. I do, I do occasionally watch. I watch the pay-per-views usually and stuff, and that's usually about the extent of it. I do turn in every once in a while just to look and see if I see friends and stuff that are on television that night. But for the most part, stuff I'm not a big fan of today's. I like, our stuff back there when we told stories and there was psychology involved.
You don't like the flippy shit, huh?
Nope, I'm not a big flippy person.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't see you doing
Mexico.
I don't see you doing many moonsaults off the top rope or diving out of the ring.
At no point in my career did I ever get on the top rope.
That'd be called a javelin missile if he ever attempted anything like that.
The closest I came to doing anything with a top rope was stepping over it.
At that point, the ropes probably said, "Oh shit, here he comes."
I think there's a point in time now that creative writing is not what it was like back when you wrestled.
No, I mean, we at no point did anybody ever walk in and hand me a script and say, here's your match and here's your promo that goes with it. At no point did I ever have to go through that. That was all, stuff. A lot of times it's stuff that we were just told. This is how we want. This is something we want in the beginning of the match. This is something that we want toward the middle, and this is how it's going to end. And everything in between and stuff was stuff that we came up with, feeding off of the audience. I mean, professional wrestling back then was ad-lib entertainment at its best.
I remember when Jeff and I were doing that previous show, I forgot who was our guest. It might have been Sin Bodie, actually. You know Sin, right?
Yeah.
So I think he was the guest with us at one point. And, of course, the topic of communication within the ring came up. Carney, as they call it. Right, Jeff?
No, that was Sam Houston. That might have been Sam Houston.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sam Houston. I apologize. That's right. And I asked Jeffy, I said, can you just give like a little example of something so that the words, and he looked at me and I thought he was going to throw me. Yeah, that picture, he was about to pick me up, throw me out. I just thought, he could have just thrown garbage out there. We wouldn't have, he could have spoken Klingon for all I know.
That's what's wrong with wrestling today. Okay. We've got to know everything before it happens. Well, you know what? In my mind, keep me entertained. I don't want to know. Keep it away from me. Keep it behind the screen. When it comes out to the match, then we're going to see it. That's the problem today in professional wrestling.
Matt, you have a question.
It was not like John Cena where he just screams out from the ringside area, backflip! But I had a question for you, Jeff. Did you, collecting wrestling memorabilia myself and stuff, did you ever keep any of your outfits from big matches or title belts?
Most of the belts and stuff I always had to return and stuff, once I dropped the title. I unfortunately and stuff, we had a fire and stuff in our storehouse and stuff one year, and I lost a lot of my memorabilia stuff from my earlier days. And I had a girl from Japan and stuff that took pictures for the Japanese magazines and stuff that lived in Mexico.
There he is.
Welcome back.
Hey, I'm back again.
All right, so go ahead and answer that one again. You started mentioning about a fire before we lost you.
Yeah, I had a fire and stuff in my house and stuff and burned up a lot of the, my memorabilia stuff was out in it and it went up in flames. So.
Oh, wow.
I lost a lot of my stuff. I had a girl from like I said, from Japan that took stuff for the magazines and stuff for the Japanese magazines that lived in Mexico City that would bring me stacks of pictures and stuff every time I came back in from being gone for those 4 weeks. Whenever I come back in, she would come up with a big stack of pictures. And unfortunately, that was a lot of the stuff I did with Yokozuna and, lost all of it.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry to hear that.
If anybody out there who is watching this live or catches it on the replays or anything, if for some chance you have any memorabilia that was Jeff's at some point, whether it's a picture or whatever, please let us know because I think we should try to help recapture whatever memorabilia may still be out there from people if they're interested in providing Jeff with some of that stuff for him.
Oh, I would love that.
Like they do on WWE, that treasure show that they go out searching. So maybe we need to call Booker T. And see.
I know I got a flash drive from when Scott sold there was a whole thing of old pictures, 10,000 of them. WWE ended up buying, but we digitized everything.
Really?
And I have them all on a flash drive, so I got to see if he's on there.
All right.
And if you are, I'll literally transfer them all to you.
Sure, I'd appreciate it.
So there you have it. If you have anything, reach us through thoughtscountanywhere.com or you can reach us on our Facebook page that you have something, and we'll mediate getting that stuff over to Jeff.
I think I need to reach out and contact my boys in Florida and Kentucky too.
Well, if they're still watching, absolutely.
When they're doing their things out on the road, they can keep an eye out too.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good. And they can even put it into Top Rope Collectibles with all the fans that are involved.
Absolutely.
And somebody out there may have something.
Yep.
So that's a great idea. So if William and Ben, if you guys are still watching, keep that in mind. Otherwise, Chief will reach out to you and see what we can do to recapture some of Jeff's memorabilia that's out there. Did you give before you lost some stuff? Were you big on giving away memorabilia? Did you have stuff? And I mean, I don't mean just programs and stuff. I mean, your wrestling gear, autographs, anything like that. They didn't have pops back then, so I'm sure that wasn't available.
Yeah, I mean, back then it didn't have all the internet stuff to be able to get stuff, around. And I mean, I traveled so much and wasn't in a lot of places for a long time. I was there often, but it's just there were always big breaks and stuff in it. So, no, I never was one that gave away a lot of my ring jackets or boots or things like that.
Gotcha. All right. So maybe tough to find stuff, but if it's out there, we'll find it. That's for darn sure. All right. We only have a few minutes left, so this is a part of the show where we kind of switch gears to a little pop culture conversation. And what?
Who was your
we have 5 minutes left.
Who was your last match with?
Funny enough, my last match was a Legends match in Germany. And it was myself and Salvatore Bellomo.
Wow.
Dave Taylor and Braun Schumann. And between the four of us, we had over 150 years of experience.
Whoa. Oh, wow.
Salvatore Bellomo.
The youngest at 30 years.
Jeez. Wow. I remember Salvatore Bellomo.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And still combined younger than Chief.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. My goodness
That's all right.
gracious.
You guys can bust my chops.
Hey,
Okay.
listen,
Sorry.
I'm going to hide behind Jeff.
I'm one.
You don't like.
Don't worry about it, kid.
The first wrestling match he went to was interrupted by a T-Rex.
I finally won, man. I finally won because I had a professional say it was all right to have a heel versus heel match.
Well, 1 win in 3 years on the show is okay.
So there you go.
You broke the schneid.
You just continue on.
Well, we only have 2 minutes left
Well,
now.
that's okay.
There you go. All right. Jeff, thank you so much. The book is called The Man Behind the Makeup, The Professional Wrestling Life and Times of Jeff Bearden, who wrestled as Giant Warrior, Big Tiger Steel, Colossus the Gladiator, Butch Masters, and now he's wrestling the rest of his life as Jeff Bearden as he is taking on Parkinson's. So keep him in mind. If you have an opportunity to donate and support Parkinson's, please do so in Jeff's name. I'm just curious, do you make your book available for fundraising for Parkinson's and helping the cause?
I haven't, except we have talked about doing some stuff with them.
Okay.
In the future.
All right. That's cool because we want to make sure we support that as well. All right.
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of Michael J. Fox.
Right on. Have you met him through all of this?
No, I haven't, but I would love to.
There you go. So let's get out to Michael J. Fox and get him together with Jeff.
I do support Parkinson's. My dad had it.
There you go.
So
I met Michael J. Fox once. I was so completely starstruck. It was like
you were in awe.
I didn't know what to say.
You were actually in awe.
Yeah.
Wow.
You were marked for Michael J. Fox.
Hell yeah.
All right. The book is available on Amazon and audio.
I'm going to get that book.
There you go. So buy it for yourself. If you're not a wrestling fan, get it for somebody who is a wrestling fan. Pass it on because there is a lot of great history in the stories with which Jeff shares, and it'll be a fun read just to understand what the world of pro wrestling is about back in the golden era. Enjoy it, and it is available there. All right. Jeff, hang tight as we sign off so that we can do that quick recording with you. Oh, Jennifer's dad is I did not know that.
What?
That Jennifer's dad is also battling Parkinson's. I forgot about that, Jennifer. Thank you for reminding me about that. So we've got people that are near and dear to us that are battling this, and we want to support it.
Isn't Jen's dad down in Texas?
That is correct.
I believe.
Yep, that is correct.
See, Chiefy hasn't lost it yet.
No, not yet.
I'm getting there.
All right. We lost Jeff's camera again. So, Jeff, please try to reconnect one more time if you can. That would be great. Take that off screen until we get him connected. All right. Closing thoughts. Is there anything on here that you guys want to quickly talk about? We have about a minute and a half. Or you want to just go into final thoughts and call it a day?
Yes.
I know Double or Nothing is next weekend. It was kind of funny on Dynamite when Orange Cassidy said that like 20 people want to challenge for the belt. He's like, there's 20 of them, one of me.
21.
But a 21-man battle royal.
That was
Blackjack's a thing in Vegas.
I like that.
Wow. I wonder if like a new person's gonna either debut or win the belt, or if he's just gonna retain. I don't think any like.
That's a good question.
Has there been any standout activity to challenge him?
I don't know.
All right,
Not really.
we have Jeff back on with us. There we go. I would say pay the internet bill, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Anyway, my good friend, Mr. Scott Hosey, Sports Cards, Toys, and Collectibles Show, Sam's Town Hotel Casino, August 26th and 27th, and November 4th.
Sports Card Fest?
Yep, Sports Card Fest.
I saw when John works the right side of the screen with all of his notes, there was still a crawl that said Chief Fest from last week, and I wanted to mention it.
Chief Fest.
Chief Fest.
Oh,
Remember
yeah, the hashtag. Yeah,
right. Hashtag Chief Fest. All right, now the new hashtag is find Jeff Bearden's gear. That's what we got to do. All right, with that, we're gonna thank everybody for joining us. And again, the book is called The Man Behind the Makeup. Check it out on Amazon. Final thoughts, Mr. Matt, as we say goodbye.
Everybody have a good, safe week. Say I love you to the people you care about. Never know what tomorrow brings. Stay hydrated.
Yep.
And do stupid stuff on Fremont so I have stories.
So we keep the stories going. There you go. Chiefy, final thoughts.
Jeff, been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Everybody, please have a happy Memorial Day weekend. Everybody be safe. If you're getting on the road, you're flying in an airplane, whatever. Have fun. Be with family. Tell each other you love them because life is short.
And the chief said so.
Thank you.
Jeff, I'll give you 30 seconds for a final thought on anything you want to share with our folks.
Just was glad to be on the show today and stuff. I was really happy that y'all invited me on, and I've enjoyed it a lot and look forward to doing it again in the future.
Well, Jeff, I'm sure that will not be an issue. We'll have you on as often as we can on whenever we can to share stories or co-host with us.
Because the chief says so.
Right, exactly. All right, with that, I just want to
says so. I got to be here.
That's right. Listen, when he puts his stamp on it, dude, there ain't no running. Just want to remind everybody, tune into Aaron's Hour at the top of the hour. I have the great John DiDomenico tribute.
Is that today?
That's today in 1 hour. That's right. 12 noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. John DiDomenico, mostly known over the last couple of years as President Trump. He's been on Howard Stern. However, he does many, many others. Phil McGraw. He is terrific. He will be live in studio. And to the best of my knowledge, thank goodness he's not come up with an impersonation of me. I'm being very afraid.
Demonico Restaurant.
No, has nothing to do with Demonico's Restaurant. No, sir.
Oh.
With that, thank you
sure?
for. I'm absolutely sure.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. As always, be kind to everybody. Why is that? We're all we have. Thank you for watching Thoughts Count Anywhere. We'll see you next week right here. WWDBTV. Jeff, don't go anywhere.